Hello and welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to be going over these poster color paints that I got while in Japan last year. I've never used poster color before and I'm really excited to see how they work relative to gouache. This first set that I am pulling out right now, this is the Holbein poster color primary set. I think I paid, it was on the screen, but I think it was around $4 US. And this is the little pamphlet that came with it, just about how to mix the paints together, a little bit of information about the primary color set. And yeah, I'm going to see how these work. These are the colors that it came with: primary cyan, primary yellow, and primary magenta. And these are in 12 milliliter tubes compared to the normal 15 milliliter tubes that I use for Holbein. And I also noticed, I haven't seen this before, there's a Munsell rating on the back of these, which gives the information like the hue, the value and chroma of these paints. I've never seen that on any other poster color or gouache before, so that was very interesting to see. And this other set that I got is the Sakura poster color set. I think these were about 200 yen a piece, maybe less. I can't remember, but just gonna try them out and see how they work. And what I immediately realized was I didn't pick up any white poster color to mix these paints. I didn't think that would be a problem until I started trying to use these straight out of the tube, and I ended up using my Holbein, my big white Holbein tube of gouache, and like they seem to mix fine together. Like it seems like you can just mix the poster color with the gouache. There weren't like too many issues, but it just felt very chalky to work with, and maybe that's just how poster color is. I know like some people use poster color versus gouache. Poster color felt very reminiscent of the Himi jelly cup gouache, which I personally really like. I like using that because it's really cheap and you get a lot in it. Probably should have bought a tube of white to go with this. You can see on the left hand side, those were all the Sakura paints. I did some swatches of the colors mixed together to see what range I could get with just those three paints. Right now I'm filling up this little like color wheel with the Holbein one. The colors are a little bit different on each of them because the Holbein was more focused on magenta, cyan, and just the primary yellow. The Sakura set was also magenta, but it was a different like tone of magenta, and then another primary yellow, and then the blue was a cobalt blue instead. I didn't get the Sakura colors in a set, I just hand-picked them out, and maybe when I picked them out I was just trying to pick a different color blue. I don't remember what my thought process was, but I think I maybe just wanted to compare them side by side like that. I thought that a good way to test out these poster colors is to do a actual full painting with them. This painting ended up being the last spread of my sketchbook, so stick around and I will be doing a sketchbook tour of this probably next week. I think it's scheduled for next week, but yeah, I just want to see how they worked in a sketchbook, and they seem to be working pretty well on mixed media paper, which I'm surprised about. I've been having trouble with like Holbein artist gouache on my mixed media paper, my Winsor Newton, but no, this seemed to work really well on it. It's like the pigments were not seeping into it, but laying on top and creating just really nice strokes of color. And like you can tell that a lot of the parts are patchy in my painting. It's just very hard to get gradients with gouache and poster color, at least for myself. But no, I was having such a good time with these colors. It was allowing me to take my time, allowing me to just focus on what colors I wanted to use. I got to put a lot of effort into this tree. I'm very, very happy with how this tree turned out. If you've seen some of my other videos, you have probably seen that I can't do nature that well. But no, the layering was honestly really good with these paints. They feel very similar to Himi gouache in that they get very dull and chalky, but they feel like they layer a bit like the Holbein artist gouache. I don't really know how to explain it, but I was honestly very happy with these. So now it might be good to talk about what poster color is because I had no idea what this was until very recently. Basically, poster color is very similar to gouache. It's like an opaque watercolor. It can be reactivated. It layers pretty well. There's a couple of issues. It's cheaper than gouache because it is not light fast at all. Most artists use it for reproduction work where you'll make a piece, scan it in, and then not worry about it. You don't want this sitting out in the sun because it will deteriorate over time. Another issue is some of the poster color paints are made with multiple mixtures of pigments, and so when you mix them together, you have a greater chance of getting muddier colors. I couldn't really find any information about the Sakura poster colors. I tried looking on their website, and there just wasn't a lot of information there. But the Holbein poster color website says that they are good for coloring and spreading. As you can see, I didn't really have much of a hassle doing the sky. They include the Munsell rating because poster colors are used a lot in schoolwork, or students will be using these paints because they're inexpensive and very easy to mix together. Now, I don't know how that works with the muddier color mixtures you can get, but I think if you're focusing on the primaries, you won't have that much of an issue. I didn't really have any issues with muddying. The only issues I really had with this paint was that it was drying very, very quickly on my palette, but I mean, all I had to do was spritz it with more water and it was fine. I was really surprised to see just how much detail I could get with this paint. I usually have a little bit of trouble with gouache. Like I can't get very detailed work when I'm using acrylics or acrylic gouache, but I don't know. It just felt very similar to how I use my Holbein gouache. This painting is based off of a photo I took while we were in Setagaya in Tokyo. I love this photo. We initially went to go to the gorge in Setagaya, which is like a big river type thing. I don't really know what the actual word is, but you like cross a little like man-made bridge and there's just like a lot of water flowing. It was just really, really pretty. But we walked further away from that and we got to this residential area that was at the top of a really large hill and it overlooked down into the residential areas below, and it just had this beautiful view of the streets going down, and the sky was just so clear and blue, and it was really rainy the entire trip, and so I got some really good pictures there just because I don't know, the sky just looked perfect. And we stopped at this one part of the residential area and I saw these power lines and I just thought it was so pretty just seeing them just weave their way throughout the sky, and I knew I just wanted to paint that really, really bad. One of my favorite parts of doing these paintings is just doing these power lines. It feels very freeing because like I could copy my reference photo exactly, but I like to just have my hand, make the movement itself, and I kind of just go with the flow. I don't try to focus too hard on what I'm doing. And now I'm just doing another swatch of all the colors that I used for this painting. I mixed together both the Sakura and Holbein poster colors. They worked completely fine together. I don't see any issues with mixing brands. I just pick what colors I like the most. Something that I noticed, if you do end up trying to get these poster colors or any poster colors in general, I use Dorland's wax medium to seal my gouache paintings. That's just to protect it and keep the paint from smearing onto the other side when I do my gouache paintings in my sketchbook. I did that on my poster colors and it smeared the paint. I've never had that happen with my actual gouache, but I think it's just some way that the poster color is made, maybe the binder. It reactivated while I was using the wax medium, and yeah, it's just smeared everywhere. Like, you can't really tell. Like, you don't see it here. It's gonna be in my next video, but just something to know. Overall, I'm very happy with how this spread ended up. I think I love this one the most out of all the paintings I've done in this sketchbook. I wanted to compare it to this painting. This is the Holbein Irodori winter set, and I have my Holbein Irodori spring painting here as well. And honestly, like, it felt exactly the same. The way that I used the paints and the pigments, it felt exactly the same. I would be able to tell a difference just because of how chalky the poster colors are, but my process, like, it felt completely fine. I love these three paintings just side by side. So I just wanted to show you that, just to show, like, you don't need the really expensive Irodori sets. You can just use poster color if it's available to you. I know it can be hard to find outside of Japan, but like, even Himi gouache, this felt very similar to Himi. Like, you don't need something super expensive to make something you'll enjoy. If you've had any experience with poster color, please let me know in the comments. I'm still learning about it, and there's not a lot of information that I've been able to find for it. But yeah, that is the final piece. The sketchbook is done, and I will be doing a tour of it next week. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!